Treasurer Scott Morrison was in full flight today, trying to turn the heat back onto Labor over its tax policy. He called it a war on growth and a handbrake on the economy, claiming Labor is planning higher taxes on small business, investment, income, housing and electricity.
2nd of July.
Unveiling a new campaign poster.
About their higher taxes on small business, their higher taxes on investment.
Treasurer Scott Morrison launches a pointed attack.
Bill Shorten has declared war on business, and as a result he's declared war on growth.
And the weapons of choice?
Using tax as their bullets.
Mr Morrison claims Labor's plan to increase taxes on tobacco and multinational companies and redirect the government's $50 billion business tax cuts to spending on health and education will stifle the economy. He was backed by the Prime Minister.
Bill Shorten has declared war on business, and the first casualties are jobs.
How do you respond to that?
Sounds like the Liberal government's getting more desperate by the day.
Desperate, he says, to divert attention away from internal divisions over its own superannuation tax hike, with several government MPs warning it's costing them votes and calling for the changes to be wound back after the election.
What else is it they're prepared to change after the election? Is it a 15% GST?
Campaigning in Sydney, Mr Turnbull insisted he won't back down.
There will be no changes to the policy.
Cabinet Secretary Arthur Sinodinos said yesterday there would be consultation after the election, but Mr Turnbull insisted that consultation would only cover how the new taxes are introduced, not amending them. As untidy as the superannuation debate is, the government says any time it can get Bill Shorten debating the economy is a victory. His topic of choice today?
And we've stuck to our guns.
Labor's promise to supply 50% of energy from renewable sources by 2030. The cost?
There'll be no net cost.
But with no detailed costing analysis, what does he base that on?
We'll just submit to you history and evidence.
As an uncomfortable moment from his own history returns, talking up business tax cuts as Assistant Treasurer in 2011.
Cutting the company income tax rate increases domestic productivity and domestic investment. More capital means higher productivity and economic growth and leads to more jobs and higher wages.
Precisely Malcolm Turnbull's key election pitch, which Mr Shorten now rejects. A revelation bound to cause more discomfort than this prank by the ABC's The Chaser team today.
It's going to run up if we're not careful.
Rats in the ranks?
And our political editor Mark Riley joins me now from Melbourne. Mark, that 2011 endorsement of company tax cuts could prove to be very inconvenient for the Labor leader.
Yeah, I think it sure will, Mark. It's almost word for word the same argument that Malcolm Turnbull and Scott Morrison are prosecuting on a daily basis, and Bill Shorten now utterly rejects. It'll be interesting to hear tomorrow from him what he thinks has changed so profoundly in economic theory in just 5 years. Also tomorrow we'll have the fourth of our exclusive 7 News Reach Tell polls for this campaign to show us how the parties are placed as we near the midway mark of this election marathon, Mark.
All right, Mark Riley in a noisy Melbourne. Thank you. The murder